Is any controversy good publicity, or is Bollywood actually in panic over calls to boycott Amir Khan's star Lal Singh Chaddha? Is there also merit in the contention that a straight lift or a film inspired by a Hollywood movie does not depict the Indian Army Special Forces commandos in the correct light? After all, India is not following the disastrous US experiment of intake of substandard troops during the Vietnam War called in America, McNamara Morons. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Long weekend ahead after the Friday release. But first, as always, the headlines. Nitish Kumar takes oath for the 8th time as Bihar's Chief Minister, declares 2024 war on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, claims 2014 Wala won't be Prime Minister in 2024.
14 में जो आए 24 तक के आगे रह पाएंगे कि नहीं रह पाएंगे वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी को रोकेंगे.
Big relief for Nupur Sharma. Supreme Court permits clubbing of all FIRs against Nupur. All FIRs to be transferred to the national capital. Protection from arrest also to continue. Abusive Neta Shrikant Tyagi remanded to 14 days in custody. Big war erupts after cops say VIP vehicle used to flee was provided by Samajwadi Party leader Swami Prasad Maurya. Tyagi's wife confirms he was in the BJP. Justice U. Lalit to be the next Chief Justice of India. President issues notice for his appointment. Justice Lalit will become the 49th Chief Justice of India after he takes over from Chief Justice Ramana on the 26th of August. After Congress Party's puppet Chief Minister jibe at Chief Minister Bomai, BJP counter-attack, says Bomai is our Chief Minister, dares the Congress to name their Chief Ministerial face. News coming in, the Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has announced on Monday that he will submit a written proposal to the United Nations to create a special commission. Now, this special commission will work to ensure there is no conflict. This special commission that he has proposed is to comprise 3 personalities to promote what he calls is a 5-year world truce, or a world without war, a world even without trade wars. For this commission, he suggested names of 3 global leaders. Now, these 3 names are Pope Francis, the names of United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and of course the name of Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, for more on this story. Geeta, talking about a world without conflict for 5 years, explain what the Mexican president is hinting at, what he means, and is there a reaction yet from the government of India on the suggestion of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's name?
Well, it's quite interesting, the development, Gaurav, given that the Mexican president has proposed 3 very important names, but of the 3, there's only 1 head of government. The other 2 represent very important organizations, one a religious head, Pope Francis, and the other head of the United Nations, which is Antonio Guterres. The head of government is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, any country can make a proposal to the United Nations in forming committees, commissions, but what is interesting is what the president said. President Obrador said that it seems like, and took on world leaders and world powers. 3 important countries he blames for warlike situations and the crises that the world and the global community is in, whether it is economic crisis or food crisis. Blaming Russia, China and and the United States of America. The president said that these warlike situations, whether if it is the conflict that we're seeing, or for that matter trade wars that we see because of the stand that US and China take, are reasons for the terrible time and the crisis that the global economy and world leaders are facing today. And therefore a commission where the leaders, the three of them, should meet and decide on how to de-escalate tensions and bring about a truce when it comes to not just conflict, which is military, but also economic.
Noble thought, a world without conflict for the next 5 years. Clearly easier said than done. Geeta, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. There is big money riding on these films. What's at stake? Now, when it comes to Lal Singh Chaddha, we are told the total cost is approximately 200 crore rupees. What has been the pre-release business so far? About 11.5 crore rupees. Let's now talk about Raksha Bandhan. Again, in the eye of a storm, the total cost we are told is about 70 to 80 crore rupees, and the pre-release business has been 4.5 crore rupees. Now, is this the reason why Bollywood is in panic over boycott films for Aamir Khan star Lal Singh Chaddha? Or is any controversy, as some would argue, good publicity? Is there merit in the contention that the Special Forces soldiers are not subpar mentally as depicted if this film is either lifted or inspired by the Hollywood movie? Joining me on the show, Colonel Rohit Dev. He's a veteran. He's commanded a mechanized infantry unit. Shehzad Khan is an actor in Bollywood. He joins us on the show. He is the voice of the film fraternity here. Ratan Sharda is an author. Also with me is India Today's Pooja Shali, who's been tracking this cancel culture very closely. Ratan Sharda, I want to begin by asking you, merit in the criticism Aamir Khan is being unfairly targeted. Why, in your view, is Aamir Khan being targeted now?
Well, Gaurav, this is a democratic country. Everybody has an opinion. If the movie is good, it will still run. But my point is, Aamir Khan has become a target of the crossfire because of the pent-up irritation that Hindus have, Indians have, regarding the way they have been presented in the Bollywood movies so many years. I, from childhood, have seen that a father is always very kind person. He takes care of people. Every Rahim Chacha is a wonderful person, pays for his life for protecting somebody. But a Pandit is a rapist, but a Pandit is a buffoon. A Pandit can rape women in the temple. All this has been ingrained in our mind. This particular sense of resentment that the Indians have felt is slowly coming out. Look at the number of movies without boycott.
But why target Aamir Khan for it?
Last year's entire history, just Kashmir File has succeeded. And that was cancelled by so-called secular people. Its reviews were given without seeing the movie, and it was trashed without even looking at the movie. So that is the kind of cancel culture liberals played with. Now suddenly when people have started objecting to the kind of comments he made about Modi ji or about the society where he's earned respect and all, people are reacting to that. So either he's committed, if he says that, okay, what I said at that time was right, or today he doesn't have then express regret. Or if he says he was wrong at that time, he say he was wrong at that time. He loves everybody. Khan. There is no fear. He has to say that. Okay. So people will react to whether it's Akshay Kumar's writer or Aamir Khan, because as I said, this pent up. You know, a famous producer creates movies with villains or always a caricature of Mahatmas and Sadhus. That person made a Pakistani terrorist into Muslim, and he was questioned on very TV channels why he made a terrorist and Muslim. Now, if this is the kind of behavior of people, A.R. Rahman was harassed for giving music to Iranian film. Did anybody object?
Shehzad Khan, so one by one. Okay, you've made your point. You've made your point. Yeah. But why target Aamir Khan for it is my point. But Shehzad Khan, respond to this. Is Bollywood worried? Is Bollywood worried by this cancel culture with crores riding on these films, and respond that certain films or certain directors, producers make films where Hindus are shown in poor light?
First and foremost, thank you very much for having me on your show. I think first time I'm coming on your show. I would like to, I heard Mr. Ratan Sharda. See, Bollywood is very much concerned because we are just recovering from the COVID 2 years. We all were hit by the pandemic, and we are trying to recover. And now suddenly this boycott thing has started, culture has started, which is very sad and very bad because these films are Indian films, and whatever, be it from Ratan Sharda ji's childhood or my father's childhood, whatever is shown in the films, it is what is happening in society. First, we all should understand that. Secondly, those people who are shouting boycott, 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 I think 9 out of 10 are those people who don't go to the cinemas to watch films. They either watch it on OTT or somewhere else, or they don't
then
watch it.
Bollywood shouldn't be worried. But the fact also
Bollywood
remains,
is
sir.
not at all worried. But yes, if somebody is all the time hammering, trolling, and saying bad things about a film or a product which they haven't seen, it does affect, and especially to Mr. Amir Khan, who's been targeted. And we have
the
been seeing
depiction
from a long
of a character, playing Lord Shiv in the film PK. Why would
See, what is
Shiva
PK?
the
What is
Destroyer be shown as somebody who's running away? Or the depiction of we say patthar patthar mein, kankad kankad mein Shankar hai. Hanuman ji ko hum पूछते हैं और उसका अगर कोई मजाक उड़ाए, why would Hindus be okay with it? But let me bring in Colonel Rohit Dev for another aspect. Let me take this debate a little wider. Colonel Dev, the depiction of a special forces soldier, if this is a straight lift out of a Hollywood movie or even inspired by Forrest Gump, is an incorrect depiction. Is that then an incorrect depiction of a special forces soldier, showing somebody who's subpar, like a McNamara moron, as they were described during the Vietnam War?
Right, Gaurav, firstly, happy to see you from Ukraine. You have landed up with some Lal Singh Chadda. I don't know what it is, but I think the depiction part of a soldier should be accurate. And especially even if you are, taking a movie of the Hollywood part and putting it in Bollywood or Tollywood, you need to be cognizant of the sentiments of a soldier, and you need to take it in the right spirit when you depict somebody. Having said that, it's a creative world, and probably even if you are trying to, make some kind of a light-hearted joke, I don't see movies, but I'm just going by the creative part. If it is there, you are okay with it. You should be able to do it. But the point is, there should be an accurate disclaimer in your movie at the beginning and the end to describe what you want to do. And second part, let me come to the point what Ratan Sharda ji and Mr. Khan were saying. I think Bollywood is not a issue today of who is the actor. The actor may have said something in the past and it's haunting him today. The major issues are that Bollywood itself had a very, very, very bad incident with Sushant Singh Rajput's death 2 years back. And that is a time when the Bollywood boycott movement started. People see actually Bollywood to have a lot of ill-gotten money as well. Having said that,
fair enough. Be that as it may, an investigation, Colonel, has to be dealt with independently. I'll come back to you. Hold on, Colonel. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Shehzad Khan, during the Vietnam War, Robert McNamara, then U.S. Defense Secretary, started a controversial project. They used subpar soldiers to be sent to Vietnam. They needed the numbers. They needed cannon fodder. That's not the case in our country. Our special forces are the best of the best. Bollywood, it appears, is incorrectly depicting our braves, and that clearly is unacceptable.
See, it is. Aapko main ek cheez bata do. You don't mind if I speak in Hindi?
No.
When you make a remake, whatever is shown in Lal Singh Chadda, it is a remake of Forrest Gump. So if they have shown something in that, it will be shown in this also. But we respect all our soldiers. We all respect them. Because of them, we sleep properly in the night. We are safe here. My heart goes out to them. My grandfather was in the army.
Would you be happy to see your grandfather as somebody who's not completely up there, who's actually subpar? You've seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah, I've seen Forrest Gump, yeah.
So you think Indian soldiers are like that? Especially our special forces?
Not at all. See, again, you're mixing two things together, brother. You cannot mix creativity and the reality. Reality is something else.
Let me quickly bring in Pooja Shali. Is this creativity or is this lack of originality that's actually hitting Bollywood, Pooja?
Gaurav, this is definitely the most important festive long weekend because we are in the 8th month, the August, and already there are only just about 3 super hit films. The Kashmir Files, based and original content based on facts, Bhool Bhulaiya 2 and Gangubai Kathiawadi. Not one film had a usual big star that could just write the film. On that, it was purely content. Even the southern films, the Telugu films like RRR or Pushpa, were purely also about original content that related to the Indian viewer. And therefore, to the question that you're asking, today's viewer and cinema goer is extremely critical and is also expressive with their reviews. It's not just about the stars anymore. If the content that is being put out for the Indian viewer is not only original, but look at the techniques, look at the content that is being used. In all these films that have done well, there is an Indian nationalist, patriotic, a cause to fight for.
Okay.
There is a cause that people are connecting to, and that is why these films are doing well, not the stars, and that is why anything that they may have said or done in the past is also getting back to them, because eventually it will be the content that decides.
Okay, Ratan Sharda, is that the reason that southern cinema that depicts the Indian culture and values correctly doing better than the Mumbai film industry that some argue is taking too many liberties?
See, first of all, just a small thing about Shahbaz, what he said about creativity.
Sure.
You will remember in Hindi movies, there used to be no forces expert. Generals would come with wrong badges, they would come with wrong stars, they would come with wrong uniform. They would depict forces in a very wrong manner. This was not. This is not creativity.
Never been depicted in wrong way.
Just a moment, sir.
No,
this
I don't take that.
Okay.
I don't buy that.
To the sir, this is pure laziness on part of our Hindi movies.
No, it's
Don't
not
pay any
laziness.
attention.
South
Movies tell us what is right, what people want to see. COVID has exposed every superstar, every movie, every non-content movie. Look at the number of flops. Why it was never so earlier? Because people have become very discriminating. Platforms have given no life to your thinking, to your content. That is why South Indian movies, despite poor dubbing, go super hit because people want to see solid content and good quality cinema. We talked of Bhool Bhulaiya. Just one last scene in Bhool Bhulaiya, when everything is over, a pandit like a buffoon is going out, tells his wife, "Chalo jaake gomutra peete hain." Was this necessary? This is the kind of disrespect for the society.
Why is everything being seen from the
and don't try to cover
religious angle?
No, but why use words like this? Why use words like this that may offend some people? For example, that film based on Ismat Chughai's Lihaf. There was a lesbian couple, Rabbo and Begum Jan, in the film, in the book, changed to Sita and Radha in the film. Why Shehzad Khan? Why Sita and Radha? Why no other name?
I don't know about all that. What you're talking right now. We are right. हाँ ठीक है हम पढ़ के आएंगे लेकिन हम इतना जानते हैं नहीं मैं आपकी बात का जवाब देना चाहता हूँ कि आप जितना भी आप लोग नेगेटिविटी फैलाते हैं फिल्म बॉलीवुड के बारे में ये ठीक नहीं है वो ठीक नहीं है ये सब
हम लोग अच्छी मूवीज को फैलाते हैं।
मुझे एक बात बताइए
मूवीज के लिए सुपरहिट करने के मेहनत करते हैं,
कई साल
हम अच्छी मूवी को प्रमोट करते हैं।
अच्छा हमने देखा आप लोग कैसा इनकैश करते हैं वक्त को और चीजों को कैसे इनकैश करना वो आप लोगों से सीखना चाहिए।
ये देखिए
बॉलीवुड इज सिटिंग डक
Gaurav.
Yeah.
When Schindler's List is very much appreciated, but Kashmir File is called engagement.
Okay.
This is precisely the same as Bollywood with people.
Clearly there are issues. Clearly there are issues that are being raised, and perhaps it would require more conversation on all sides to find a way forward. The correct depiction of our soldiers is something that the forces are very particular about. We will continue to track the story, but for joining me here on this India Today special, many thanks.